Following last weekend's quality rugby action in the last round of the Rugby World Cup pool stages and the last round of the tournament as a whole for some sides, I'm going to be discussing 7 things in which we have learnt from the final round of the pool stages. As always, please do let me know if you agree or disagree with the 7 things that I have identified, and as always, I'll be happy to debate them in the comments section below. Start off with point number 1, Ireland are peaking at the right time. Now, there's always a lot of talk about Ireland peaking too soon. You know what happened in 2019 where they potentially peaked, a year early in 2018. And look, it looks like Ireland are peaking at the right time. They had a couple, rough performances in the Rugby World Cup warm-up matches against the likes of Samoa, but they've really gradually improved and really hitting their straps in this World Cup. A solid performance over South Africa, a real gritty performance, and then following that with an absolute clinic against Scotland, a game in which a lot of people identified as one in which Scotland will target and they have to throw the kitchen sink, and then Ireland just completely dominated from the word go and never looked like losing at any point in that game. So it looks like Ireland are peaking at the right time. That being said, despite New Zealand's rocky start to the World Cup against France, they've really gathered some speed. Yes, it's been against lesser opposition. Probably the best name they've beaten since losing the France game was probably Italy, so you can't gauge too much from that, but both teams are playing some quality rugby. Ireland have been tested much more in this World Cup with better quality opposition, and that's shaping up to be a real good game. Point number 2, Tier 2 triumph. Now, we saw the win of Portugal last night over Fiji. That was just incredible to watch. 77th minute, a break down the wing, the inside ball from the winger, and they go on to beat Fiji. That was just phenomenal. Look, I didn't necessarily see that coming. I thought Portugal could compete hard and could score some tries, but I didn't think Fiji were going to get beaten like that. And some Tier 2 teams have really been performing and have really been showing that they're worth their weight in these games. They're often deprived of some real high-level test match, which can really limit their ability to improve. But especially the likes of Portugal, Georgia have had a bit of a mixed bag of a tournament, slightly disappointed. But you've seen the likes of Uruguay, and they've played some decent rugby. So look, they're proving they deserve their shot at some sort of test matches throughout the years, and not just waiting from World Cup to World Cup. Point number 3, most cards ever. So the yellow card from Levani Botia in the Fiji against Portugal game was the card in which tipped this World Cup over the edge as being the World Cup with the most ever cards. Now, I think that's not a surprise really, is it? It was always going to be the case with the greater use of the TMO and the new guidelines around any head contact, pretty much, unless there's some crazy level of mitigation, it is now a yellow card threshold and then reviewed in the bunker. So not an ideal point, in the history of rugby, but at the same time, many would argue it's making the game safer. Some would argue it's making the game more stop-start and potentially not as enjoyable, because you see collisions in which years gone by were just head-on-head, no foul play, are now being treated as really serious collisions. So look, it's always going to be a debate that will go long into the night, and as always, please do let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Point number 4, England limp to quarterfinal. Now, as an England supporter, that was a painful watch. Really struggled against Samoa, a quality Samoan side, and look, I have no massive problems losing to Samoa if it was a quality game where England played well, but I'm more disappointed in the way the game was played. England did try and throw the ball about a little bit more, but so sloppy, so many handling errors, so many penalties conceded. Really not an impressive watch for England. So England and Fiji will face each other in the quarterfinal, both coming off incredibly underwhelming performances. That semi-final will be the best of the bad bunch, going through to the semis from that quarterfinal. So look, it'll be interesting to see how they get on next week. Italian troubles. Italy, although it was predicted and everyone was certain they'd finish third in their group, which has been the case in Pool A, it's the way they finished third. I mean, they had some good performances against Uruguay, but it was awful to watch against the likes of New Zealand and France. I expected them to lose both games comfortably, and France and New Zealand's come away with cruise to victories. But there's one thing cruising to a victory, and then there's one thing losing by pretty much 100 points in the All Blacks game, and then in the France game they just got completely obliterated. Now, look, it's not a good look for Italy. They've got teams like Georgia, Portugal breathing down their necks in terms of Six Nations qualification and people wanting a relegation and promotion system in the Six Nations, which, you know what, I'm all for that, to be honest. I think every team deserves their chance to qualify. I'm not a massive fan of this ring fencing. I think it creates a little bit of sort of a comfortable nature, and you know you can't get relegated, so you're just playing for the pride of playing. But I think if you add in the relegation aspect, it will massively promote some competition. So yeah, not the World Cup Italy would want. I believe Kieran Crowley has now left the head coach role at Italy, and they'll be looking to bring somebody else in. But ultimately, after a good Six Nations, very underwhelming from Italy. Point number 6, Welsh Fitness prevailing. So we often see Wales be relatively tight in some Test matches, but they always pride themselves on their fitness. It's been something like Warren Gatland has really focused on, and I think we saw that in the Georgia game. Now, I know Georgia were down to 14 men, but it got relatively close, about 60 minutes, and then the Welsh Fitness and the sort of clinical edge that fitness can bring. You know, when you're not knackered, you can definitely think more clearly. You can make better decisions, and I thought that really prevailed in the Georgia game, especially with Lewis Rees-Zammit's last try. Good kick, but it was just the fitness of the whole Welsh side that could keep the pace of the game going, whilst the Georgians ultimately, with a big physical forward pack, started to tire. Point number 7, Argentina starting to click. Now, Argentina were probably one of the most disappointing sides in terms of performances up until their recent game against Japan. They'd really struggled to find some form, making uncharacteristic errors, really poor against England, only scoring a single try against England, and they'd never looked like they were going to win the game. Loads of penalties conceded, but in the Japan game, I mean, Japan aren't the side that they were in 2019, but they were still a quality side and threw the ball around and looked very, very adventurous. But Argentina in that game really did put Japan to the sword. It was close at points, but the Argentinians really dug in, and in the end came away with a real strong and a meaningful victory, which will serve them well going into the knockout stages. Argentina, I think, could be a bogey team, especially against Wales. Look, I'm behind Wales to win that. I think Wales will win that, but Argentina are such a mixed bag. I can see Wales winning that by 20 points, but I can also see Argentina nicking it. It's one of those games in which you don't really know what you're going to expect from Argentina. They're a very unknown quantity. So look, those are my 7 points. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Look, we're going to be previewing the quarterfinals, so please subscribe to notifications on, as there'll be plenty of videos in the lead up to the quarterfinals. I'm really looking forward to it. The rest of this tournament is going to be action-packed. Lots on the line. Rugby World Cup history, career-defining moments for some big names in the sport. Some last World Cups for some big names in the sport as well. It's not to be missed. And really looking forward to it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.